It's a mess, it's a start, it's a flawed work of art.
Today that the Irish consumers are not that cynical. As we all know, we're living in a more globalised society, and this is actually, in areas such as climate change and exploitation of workers, we're more aware of this. So this is actually affecting how we're buying our goods. From the EU website, from the European CSR community, it shows that 70% of Irish consumers say that the company commitment to social responsibility is important when buying a product. 40% will pay more for an environmentally friendly product and a socially responsible product. And 58% believe that companies do not do enough to improve their local communities. And the Irish consumer is actually showing this by buying fair trade products. In this year alone, fair trade sales are up by 30% in Ireland, up from 22 million to 30 million. Up to €30 million worth of sales. And if you look at our own Irish chain, Insomnia, it's actually 100% fair trade. And this is because of the Irish consumer is putting pressure on these companies, to provide them with more choices, more ethical choices. And this is actually moving into our mainstream supermarkets. And people are switching back to organic food, and organic food is actually increasing by 10% every year for the last decade. And also, and this is actually also creating jobs and creating new companies. If we look at the Irish farmers market, there are now over 60 farmers markets operating around the country, providing Irish grown food that is ethically grown and that's profitable as well. And this is showing that CSR is important to the Irish society. We then have seen the growth in green consumerism with the increase in eco shops and health shops providing customers with alternative products. And these products, are not always found in mainstream supermarkets. And again, another Irish company that is actually doing CSR with Tetra Pak, they're actually contributing towards replanting forests, even though they're actually putting that themselves, but they're actually, pushing forward to replant them. And this is why I believe that the Irish consumers are more conscious and are trying to make change themselves.
That's a bit of information. If a Tetra Pak doing CSR, who hears about that? Who goes to the shops and says, I'm going to buy a Tetra Pak because they've been really nice to the environment?
Point of information, it says it on the side of the card.
Who reads that?
I do.
Tetra Pak, helps the environment.
Never sat in one of those series of red cards.
Yeah, we're going to the legislature for just like one's opinion.
And this is why I believe that the Irish consumer is making changes, and it is proving these changes in our attitudes is causing us to alter our purchases, and this is why companies need to listen to consumers if they and this is why we should take CSR very seriously.
Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm up here now going to summarise my team's main points and hammer home that CSR is not meant to be a profitable Irish business or something like that. Okay, so there's no place for CSR in a profitable Irish business. So first of all, we had Rob up and he discussed how us Irish are a cynical bunch and our culture is not conducive to CSR practices. Now, this might not be absolutely to do with our cynicism. I think it's also partly to do with our ignorance and our enjoyment of ignorance, basically, because I know I don't go looking for CSR products, and I think most people I know don't either. And so I just don't think that the Irish really do buy into the whole CSR work. Then Tim went on to say that in recessionary times, whether or not a product has socially responsible elements to it, it's very low on people's agenda at this point in time. People just want the best price, and generally the costs of CSR, because being a socially responsible.
You were saying there that people don't really care about sales because of recession. You already made the point that fair trade sales have gone up 20% in the last year, and body ones have never fair trade target. So
what, 2008 was it?
2008.
Yeah.
Well,
So does
just
that
tell me
not
when
mean
kind of
that
hit the end. We were officially in recession. We were officially in recession in November 2008. So time to end.
September 22nd.
There you go, close enough.
26th.
Order, 9 months went by.
Point of information, the point was about consumers looking for CSR goods, not whether or not there was a fair trade down or whatever. It's people don't go looking for CSR goods. I, for one, don't search for CSR goods. That's the point.
I bought it. It's just we already provided the statistic that 40% more are prepared to pay more for socially responsible goods.
Point of
More than
information,
Ireland,
Is
60%.
that 40%?
40%.
Still less than half. So it's not really a
Point of
significant
information, we're
percentage.
customers of Irish business.
Yeah, that's
Basically,
Sorry, just around the sampling that they used for those surveys, because I was reading up on different surveys that were done, and they were saying that a lot of the CSR surveys where there is a positive, where people do say there's a positive link, that it's selective sampling. You know, they're literally standing there outside shops where people are buying fair trade products and saying, oh, would you buy fair trade? So I'd love to just know the context of sampling. And this may be cynical because I'm Irish and all this, but I mean, I'd love to know the context of, like, do you know where they...
Well, I didn't carry out the sample, so
I
I'm
don't
not
think it's really a cause to contradict the market research that these companies, they were talking about, actual facts, they were not actually talking about the market research program and how do you focus groups. That's not relevant.
It's how,
oh no, but
how
it is
applicable
relevant.
it
You're
is,
going to
how
go to a
relevant.
bunch of hippies and be like, do you prefer environmental friendly things? They're all going to so,
I think that we all know at this stage that we don't go to specific groups when we do market research. A lot of it is done.
well, we read an article there just yesterday saying that it wasn't, what's the word?
It was selective sampling. They're literally
Wasn't
picking their
strategy
sample.
around
And the physicians themselves admitted it. So therefore it's true. Yes.
If we're going to be forced to back up like the facts that have been accumulated by a reputable person like Kent Brother, I think we should call on you to back up the survey that you found that out in. These other air surveys are where did you hear
That
that?
website. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so basically what I was saying was, oh yeah, and then things to do with CSR is generally quite costly for companies, so very often the price gets passed on to the consumer and therefore it costs more for the consumer, and that in recession times is not a good thing. Jane then went on.
If you buy a bottle of Volvic, they give 10 litres of water and Volvic prices haven't gone up, and they give 10 litres of water out of tap and price a lot more.
Have they always been doing that from the word go?
Well, they've been doing it for 2-3 years and the prices haven't changed.
So, but who's to say that when they were making the initial price, they didn't include the cost of CSR?
Sorry, just 2 minutes left just to wrap up the point, and there's no more questions.
Okay, and then Jane, she said about the profitable Irish companies, Ryanair, who's one of the most profitable countries in the world probably at this stage, doesn't practice any CSR, known as Peter Marr. And then Anne-Marie, in her interesting speech, went on to discuss the questionable aspects of CSR, and she brought up the issue of Anglo-Irish Bank. She also said that Anglo-Irish Bank contributed a lot over the years to CSR. So, one, this can beg the question, does the amount of money that they contribute to this, they feel that they have to then corrupt the other side of their business because they simply couldn't afford to do both aspects. If that is the case, then this is proof that there is no place for CSR in a profitable Irish business because they have to corrupt one side of their business in order to establish their CSR side of the business, which they did, and they, are now suffering. Anyway, so basically what we're saying is that at the end of the day, a corporation's main goal should be to make profit. They're not philanthropists, and they shouldn't be expected to be philanthropists. CSR, we had a definition, but it includes all shareholders. That includes people who are investing money into it, that includes the environment business is doing business in. Therefore, I think if you're going to practice CSR, then everybody should benefit, and not just single parties, which seems to be often be the case. So, therefore, I think businesses in Ireland should simply be here to make money. They should ignore the CSR aspect because somebody is always going to lose out no matter what. And so, therefore, there is no place for CSR in profitable Irish businesses.
Hear, hear.
Thank you.